What's a good strategy for managing RSUs? So RSUs, or restricted stock units, are an increasingly popular form of equity compensation used mostly by larger publicly traded companies. Essentially, employees are awarded shares of company stock as part of their compensation package. Now, there's a few key dates to keep in mind with RSUs. The first being the grant date, which is the date that the RSUs are granted to you. Second is the vesting date. Now, this is the date at which the RSUs are yours to do with them what you wish. RSUs will typically vest in tranches over a period of time. For example, shares granted in 1 year might vest in equal quantities over the next 4 years. The vesting date is the date at which the market value of the RSUs are considered taxable income to you. Some employers will even withhold a portion of those RSUs when they vest to pay taxes. And then the third date to be aware of is 1 year after the vesting date. This is the date at which you can sell those vested shares, and any gains are taxed as long-term capital gains. So what's the best way to manage these RSUs? Well, assuming a publicly traded company, a common strategy is to sell RSUs as soon as they vest. You'd have very little, if any, short-term gain, but more importantly, this allows you to systematically diversify away from your employer stock. It can be easy to develop a large concentrated stock positions with RSUs if you're not careful. Not to mention a large unrealized capital gain that you'd have to build a strategy to recognize sooner or later to avoid a huge tax bill. Another idea is that you could use the proceeds from the sale of vested RSUs to make non-deductible IRA contributions or after-tax 401k contributions that could then be used for backdoor Roth IRA contributions. However, before you do any of that, you first want to take a good look at your overall tax situation. When shares are withheld at vesting for tax purposes, it's usually at 20%, which may or may not be enough to cover the taxes due on that income. If it's not, then of course you want to make sure to account for that. And if you have a particularly large RSU vesting year, that could happen maybe due to a big increase in the stock price, well then there may be some things that can be done from a tax planning standpoint, like choosing to recognize certain losses or choosing not to recognize other gains, or maybe something like front-loading any charitable contributions you'd otherwise plan on making over the next few years, just for example. As always, general advice here, but you definitely want to consult with your financial and tax pros when it comes to RSUs and see what makes sense for you and your situation. Hope this was helpful. See you on the next one.